Hi, this is James from Mission Engineering, and this is the first in a new series of Friday afternoon coffee time tips. So in the few minutes that it takes you to drink a cup of coffee, we're going to give you some quick tips on how to use Mission expression pedals. So in our first Friday afternoon coffee time tip, we're going to talk about a question that we regularly have here at Mission, which is about the difference between TS and TRS cables. So I have a couple here. The first one is a TS cable, and the TS refers to the tip and the sleeve. And if we look at the tip of the cable here, the very pointy bit at the end there is the tip, and then this body part here is the sleeve, and then we have one little insulator between them. So there are really just two conductors on this cable, and these are called the tip and the sleeve. This is typically the type of cable that you would see used with a guitar when you plug a guitar into an amp, or an effects patch cable when you patch effects together. It's a standard TS or mono patch cable. By contrast, this one here is a TRS cable. This has two insulators and three conductors. These are tip, ring, and sleeve. Sometimes you'll hear this cable get called a balance cable. Sometimes you get it heard called a TRS cable, sometimes it's called a stereo cable. But the principal difference here is that we have these three conductors, tip, ring and a sleeve, instead of just the tip and sleeve that we have on the mono cables. Now I've got my coffee back, I'm going to have a quick drink, and then we're going to talk about which cables we use with which pedals. So this is a Mission EP1 expression pedal. It just has a single output on the side, and this connects into the expression input on your amplifier, MIDI controller or effect. This uses the TRS or the stereo cable. Almost all expression pedal inputs use some form of TRS cable or stereo cable. So when you're connecting to a MIDI controller or to a stomp box or to some kind of digital amp or effect, the majority of them will use a stereo TRS cable. And this is one of the most common issues that we see in technical issues connecting up the expression pedals to the devices, is that people use the mono or a regular guitar cable, and then the expression pedal doesn't work. So in the majority of cases, a TRS cable is required to connect the expression pedal to your device. Of course, every rule has an exception, and the exception in the case of an expression pedal is equipment by Line 6, which has its own expression pedal interface. For example, we're using this M13 stomp box modeler here, and on the back you'll see there's two expression pedal interfaces. And for this we'll use the Mission EP1 L6 expression pedal. This is the one that's custom designed to work with Line 6 products, and it uses a mono or a TS expression pedal connector. So you can connect your EP1 L6 to your Line 6 device with a regular mono cable. It doesn't require a TRS. Most other devices, as we've said, require TRS cables. So both types of cable are available from Mission Engineering. So here we have a TS cable, here we have a TRS cable. As you can see, they look very similar, but remember the way to tell is just to look on the tip here, and if you have three conductors, it's a TRS cable, and if you have two conductors, it's a TS cable. Another thing to notice about these cables is we have a right angle on one end and then a straight on the other. The right angle is designed to go into the pedal so that it takes up as little space as possible on your pedal board, and then the straight connector goes into your equipment end. Alright, you've been watching the Friday afternoon coffee technical update. There'll be another one next week. I hope you enjoyed your coffee. I certainly enjoyed mine. See you next week.